Over 1 million more documents, hidden for years. For decades, the name Jeffrey Epstein has hovered like a shadow over the worlds of power, wealth, and politics. But now, thousands of pages of newly released files have cracked open that shadow, revealing details the public was never meant to see. The U.S. Department of Justice has released tens of thousands of pages, photos, emails, flight logs, FBI notes, and heavily redacted documents, with over 1 million more still under review. Tonight, we dive into what's inside. This is not a story about conspiracy theories. This is a story about documents, evidence, and the people named inside them. Welcome to Inside the Epstein Files. On December 23rd and 24th, 2025, the Department of Justice dropped a bombshell. 11,000 files, nearly 30,000 pages released in a single wave. These files include photos, court records, emails, news clippings, videos, FBI notes, and threat intake reports and flight logs. But here's the twist. The DOJ also admitted something shocking. They've discovered over 1 million more documents still being reviewed for release. And critics say the release is far from complete. Many documents are heavily redacted, with entire pages blacked out, what some accusers call abnormal redactions. The public wants answers, the victims want justice, and the files are only raising more questions. Let's break down what these documents actually contain, because the media headlines only scratch the surface. According to USA Today and Sky News, the files include photos of Epstein with celebrities and political figures, FBI evidence logs, notes from prosecutors, threat reports from victims, flight logs showing who traveled with Epstein, emails discussing co-conspirators, and reports of victims trafficked internationally. One of the most disturbing documents comes from an FBI threat intake examiner. It summarizes the account of a woman who said she was trafficked from the age of 5, taken to Paris at 12 or 13, and eventually brought to Epstein's island at 13 years old. Her story includes being kidnapped, being assaulted, being photographed, and trafficked to politicians and notable men across countries. These are not rumors. These are official FBI summaries inside the released files. But the documents also contain false or unverified accusations, and the DOJ warns that some claims, especially made before the 2020 election, are untrue and sensationalist. This is why the files are so controversial. They mix verified evidence, victim testimony, and unfiltered accusations, all in the same archive. One of the biggest public questions is who is mentioned in the files? The answer is many people, but not all mentions imply non-wrongdoing. CBS News reports that the files include many references to President Donald Trump, including emails from prosecutors noting that flight logs show he flew on Epstein's jet many more times than previously known. However, and this is important, the DOJ also states that some accusations against Trump in the files are unfounded and false. Sky News and ABC News also highlight photos of Bill Clinton in multiple documents, photos of Prince Andrew at Sandringham, mentions of celebrities, businessmen, and political figures, notes about 10 co-conspirators discussed by investigators in 2019. But again, a name appearing in the files does not mean guilt. Some are witnesses, some are associates, some are simply people who crossed paths with Epstein socially. The files are a mixture of evidence, rumors, leads, interviews, and raw investigative material. This is why the release is so explosive and so confusing. If you open the files yourself, you'll notice something immediately. Black bars everywhere. Entire paragraphs, entire pages, sometimes entire documents. Victims and advocates call these abnormal redactions. Why so much secrecy? The DOJ says some information is unverified, some claims are false, some names are protected, some details involve minors, some information relates to ongoing investigations. But critics argue the redactions protect powerful people. The release is intentionally slow. The public is being drip-fed information. And with over 1 million more documents still under review, the pressure is only growing. One of the most disturbing sections of the files involves international trafficking routes. Sky News reports that victims described being taken from apartments, transported across countries, photographed and assaulted and brought to Epstein's island as minors. One victim described being trafficked through Paris, Ireland, the Caribbean, and being abused by politicians and notable men across borders. These accounts are deeply disturbing, and they raise questions about how large Epstein's network really was, who else was involved, how many victims remain unidentified, and why so much evidence remained hidden for so long. The files don't answer these questions, but they show the scale of the allegations. ABC News reports that even as Epstein was arrested in 2019, investigators were already turning their attention to others in his orbit, people who might have helped him, enabled him, or participated in his crimes. The files include notes about 10 co-conspirators being discussed by investigators in 2019, emails between prosecutors, FBI evidence logs, witness interviews, and photos of Epstein with associates. But here's the key. Most of these names are still redacted. We don't know who the 10 co-conspirators are. We don't know how many were investigated. We don't know how many are still under scrutiny. And that's why the remaining 1 million documents matter so much. The reaction to the release has been explosive. Victims say the files confirm what they've been saying for years. The redactions hide the truth. The release is too slow. Critics say the DOJ is protecting powerful people. The release is intentionally confusing. The public deserves full transparency. The DOJ says many accusations are false or unverified. Redactions protect minors and ongoing investigations, and more documents are coming. And the public, they're left trying to piece together a puzzle with half the pieces missing. With over 1 million more documents still under review, the Epstein files are far from closed. We can expect more releases, more redactions, more controversy, more pressure from Congress, and more questions about who knew what and when. But one thing is clear. The Epstein case is no longer just a criminal investigation. It's a window into how power, secrecy, and abuse can intertwine at the highest levels of society. And the files are only beginning to speak. The Epstein files are not just documents. They are the voices of victims. They are the traces of a network that operated in the shadows. They are a reminder that justice delayed is not justice denied. As more files are released, we'll continue to break them down, fact by fact, document by document, because the truth deserves light, and the victims deserve answers. Thank you for watching. Stay informed, stay critical, and stay human.